In this coaching conversation, my client explores her complex relationship with feelings of superiority and invisibility, especially in the context of her professional legitimacy and self-worth. She uncovers how her childhood lack of recognition and her natural attention to detail rooted in her neurodivergence and trauma have shaped both her strength in seeing what others miss and her fear of being ignored or unheard. She learns to embrace her superiority not as a demand for perfection, but as a natural gift, and to honor her invisible and unheard self with the same compassion.
Yet it's a bit scary, yet I feel so safe here and used to look at myself in a different way. And what if I try again?
Hmm.
What if I try with you all? And what if I switch my different parts in different rooms? It's a very interesting perspective. And as I am discovering it, maybe as all of us, maybe I'm gonna focus on about my posture for money today.
Mm-hmm.
And the posture, so what kind of money and how much do I charge and relate to this feeling. Yeah. So I don't know. Do you feel? Do you suggest we should call? We should name a room, for example.
Well, I mean, if you already have an idea, you can name the room, and otherwise we'll try to find it together. But if you already have an inkling.
Okay, so for example, is that better to be clear as money or to find a nickname, for example?
Well, I don't even know if the room is money. So give me a bit of context. What are you grappling with right now when it comes to the question of money and setting fees and all of that?
Okay. I feel not legitimate because I have a degree about Japanese, but all of my skills are by life. And I feel so legitimate on many points if I consider and compare myself to coaches, people who coach me, for example, on that point, or teachers. I always find that, oh wow, something is missing from my point of view,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And now I feel very legitimate to go and to propose my point of view and to act. For example, for as a medium, I can propose things and then act it not just with a feeling, but with a ceramic or with a painting or with a song or with something, because I really need to be, because I'm still a translator between.
But let me see if I can get to the root. Yeah. So the question is, um, what is still a problem in this setup, if any? Like, where are you still struggling?
Illegitimacy or the price, the rate, yeah. Something like it's not, now it's clearer,
Mm-hmm.
yet I did not get the time to apply it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not,
We know each other quite well, Valerie, so I'm gonna ask you if I can be a bit daring with you.
be.
Okay, okay. So I'm gonna, because the bait that you gave me was to explore maybe the illegitimate room or the legitimate room, but actually what's calling me is a completely different room, and it's the room of I'm superior.
Yeah. Sure, sure.
So how does it feel to say that I'm superior?
It's true.
Try it on and tell me what you notice in your body.
Um, my chest is opening.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay, so it feels rather positive in your case.
very positive.
Yeah.
Yet the judge in me is like,
Yeah,
you know?
there are plenty of other rooms that have a lot of opinions, right? Yeah. Okay, so if being superior is in principle a positive quality, when do you feel superior?
When do I feel superior, you mean?
Mhm.
Okay, due to my way of thinking and going my trauma, PTSD, and my autism, I go to a lot of details. So it is the why I've been able to be a translator for Hermes when I was in Japan. Even though my skills, I was not, and I'm still not absolutely not fluent or whatever, but I was so, there is something added on the details. So, for example, last Saturday evening, we went to a beautiful and expensive dinner in a place and very beautiful house without knowing who was coming up. And everything was close to perfect, yet the water was awful.
Ah.
And myself, I have a machine, Japanese machine. It's 4,000 more euros, but very specific. So you can choose your pH.
Mhm.
And I thought, wow, everything was perfect, but just the simple water, which is for me, it's the manifestation, what is Zen or
Yeah.
which, it is, ooh.
Yeah. Okay, so let's try this on and see what happens when you say I'm superior whether or not I'm perfect.
Oh, I don't like it.
Hey,
uh,
tell me what you notice in your body.
uh, it's my gut is not happy.
How do you know
Mm,
that your gut is not happy?
it's because it's like uh, uh, it reminds me an expression in Japanese. We say noomiso ga kusatteru. My brain is a puking.
Your brain is puking. Wonderful. That's a good image. Yeah. Okay, so feel your gut, right? And for everybody else who's listening in, when you're not yet so familiar with the reclamation work, what we're trying to look for is if one room feels in principle positive, there's often a hook that we have built in that leads to this room being very energy inefficient, if you want, right? So, for example, for you, Valerie, if your superiority is connected to having to be perfect, it's not really, a core superiority because either you are or you're not, right? But also, it's incredibly energy inefficient to strive for perfection all the time.
Mm.
Yeah. So I want you to feel this and go, I'm superior whether or not I'm perfect.
I am superior whether or not imperfect.
And say it in French.
It's like a burden here
Mhm.
I would carry, but like you know, a, an artifact.
Mhm. Okay, so notice this burden, this artifact, and say the same sentence in French and notice what happens to the artifact. Mhm.
J'ai un- comme un collier, une fraise. Une fraise.
No, so sorry, Valerie, say I'm superior, whether
Okay.
or not I'm perfect.
In French,
Mhm.
je suis supérieure, que je sois ou pas parfaite. Je suis supérieure, que je sois ou non parfaite. Parfaite. Je suis supérieure, que je sois ou non parfaite. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
getting hot too. Mhm.
Hmm.
Okay, so what happens to the artifact when you allow that to be true?
It's like I'm gonna blush,
Mhm.
you know, and try to myself hide uh, behind this mask or artifact, which is not a burden anymore, but a like a screen
Mhm.
between the others and myself.
Okay, so notice the screen between the others and myself. And say the sentence again, right? And while you experiment with that, I just want to give some context for everybody else. So in this case, being perfect was also part of a survival strategy. Yeah. And we're removing a bit that need for perfection to feel your natural superiority, which is, by the way, just one of many rooms in the house. Okay, say it again. Je suis
Je
supérieur.
suis supérieur avec et sans supérieur. Avec et sans. C'était quoi?
Perfection.
Avec et sans perfection. Et tu parles très bien français, Nadia.
I understand a little bit, but don't test me. I'm superior, but not that superior, you know?
Je suis supérieure avec et sans perfection.
Okay, what happens with the screen between you and other people?
Je me sens pas, I do not feel at all superior when I look at these people looking at me, and I just feel related to my own truth and with and without
Perfection.
perfection for,
Yes.
you know, the artifacts. I
Okay.
can see you all as I can see myself too. Yeah, sure. Well,
Allow yourself for a moment. Actually, what comes to me is how old is the who would have loved for somebody to really tell her you're superior, my dear?
um, if I am honest, it's not a question of being superior. It's a question of just being recognized for what was, you know? So I think I am over searching for compliments, for good words, and say, oh, yeah, you are fantastic. Because I did not have the base of any encouragement,
Mhm.
you know, and it's my path being, meaning it's always been like that all my life. And my parents still very alive, even 81 and both. They are still do not recognize this. So I see myself in some context when I feel superior or seeking of the details that are too much for me. Now I hold them in the way that I know that it's my connections, neuronal connection, that it is this screen. So I try not to be that extreme with myself.
But I want you to be extreme. I want you to be superior
Okay.
because we can celebrate you in your superiority. And you
Yeah.
see more than a lot of people and you feel more than a lot of people.
Okay. I can hold for you all this superiority.
Yeah.
It is an artifact. So okay. You know.
Well, find some joy in it. Seriously, for years of your life, you would have wished for somebody to give you this permission. You're now getting this permission.
Okay. Okay. Welcome.
So I'm superior with and without being perfect.
I'm superior. Je suis supérieure en étant et en n'étant pas, en étant parfaite et en étant imparfaite. Je suis supérieure. Je vais noter. Je suis supérieure en étant parfaite et imparfaite.
Yeah. Okay, and just feel what your body feels like with this permission.
It's like a little friend who's with me, like a teddy bear or something.
Yeah.
And actually, my nickname when I was a kid was Baloo, Jungle Book. And my parents or people who knew me from my childhood still as a anyway. And yeah, and this big bear, superior in his clumsy way, or but very gentle.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so I feel with this superiority is yeah, and it can be an artifact, but it can be a teddy bear when yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, Valerie, the only thing about this room is being able to step into it and to own it. And to own that sometimes you look at what other people do and how they do it, and you go, I could do that better.
Okay. Often it's very true.
Yeah, I have that. Seriously, sometimes people run to therapy for 20 years and I'm like, what are they doing with their clients? Like nothing changes.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they are not very demanding. So sometimes you have to be too demanding. It's
Yeah, and that's also part of
superior.
being superior, right?
Yeah, because the crown can be very heavy. Ooh. Mm.
Okay, so what's on the other side, right? So for everybody who isn't so familiar with the reclamation work yet, we always look for two connected rooms, right? So usually there's a room that we're more familiar with than the other one. Sometimes they're both strange to us. It depends. But what's the opposite of being superior for you?
Would be being inferior or transparent.
Transparent as in invisible?
Yeah, invisible.
Okay, try that.
Invisible. And how do you say when you speak, but people on you shout and people do not? Because on my
Unheard or
nightmares,
ignored?
unheard. Yeah.
Unheard. Well, okay. So say that in French. I'm an invisible and unheard woman.
Je suis une femme invisible. Je suis une femme invisible et oui, je suis une femme invisible. Another word is coming is pudique.
What is that?
It's close to shy, but it's more refined way to say it's much more elegant. Someone is humble.
Okay, that feels to me like a little bit of a bypass, right? A part of you who felt invisible for so long tried to make it into something graceful. And it is, right? Because in every pain there is something that also became a strength of ours, a core way of being that is also quite beautiful. But I want you to acknowledge being invisible.
Ok, je suis invisible et how would I say for this word? Et non, non entendu, non écouté. Oui. Je suis une femme invisible, non écoutée.
How does it feel in your body to say that?
Sad.
Sad. Where do you feel sad?
Mm. And my heart.
Okay, and feel your heart. Give this feeling space, really allow it to be there fully. Yeah.
Je suis une femme invisible et non écoutée.
Yeah. And feel the tenderness in that room, the sadness, and allow all of that to be there. So I'm an invisible and unheard woman. No, and it's okay.
Je suis une femme invisible et non écoutée, et c'est OK. I love this sentence because it's really releasing. As I don't like when I speak too much. When I go to, sometimes and a friend of mine who was there in this dinner party, after then I phoned her and I asked, wasn't I too much? And she said, it's not the part I prefer in you, because I know you, but I know that, well.
Yeah. So say I'm an invisible and unheard woman, and it's just right.
Je suis une femme invisible et non écoutée, et c'est correct. C'est correct.
And I'm superior.
Et je suis supérieure.
With and without being perfect.
En étant ou en n'étant pas parfaite. I love it. I'm going to write it down.
Right, and feel the spaciousness of these places, right? Because that's really the point of this, right? Is to create room for every way of being in our inner house. Because if you are superior without having to prove your perfection, you can also sometimes shut up, right? Because the talking also comes from making sure that you get it exactly right. And then you can relax into being an invisible and unheard woman, and it can be a wonderful position for you.
I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
I'm really feeling it. So I'm gonna now test in reality, in others' room and other people's room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.